With school starting in about a month, a lot of people are going to be buying new laptops. And as a person who's seen a lot of predetermined thoughts regarding computers, I'm here to help you guys be better equipped and better prepared, whether you're going to a store or buying your laptop online. Hey guys, my name is Lo-Fi, and I've been selling tech for a few years now. And as a big tech guy myself, I want to help you guys make the best possible tech purchases to get the best bang for your buck. Now, there are two main things you want to consider when buying a laptop. Two main questions. These are, what are you going to be doing on your laptop, and where are you going to be doing that? Now, what you're going to be doing on that laptop is the more important question of the two. If you're going to be doing heavy graphical work like 3D editing, video editing, or gaming, you're going to need a dedicated GPU or graphics card. What this looks like is an MX150 or MX250 on thin and light laptops for very light gaming on low settings. Or if you're looking for more hardcore gaming or work, an RTX 20 or 30 series card on high-end ultrabooks or gaming laptops. Now, Macs are different in this regard, so you won't be seeing those same kinds of GPUs on Macs. But if you're going for a Mac OS, you don't really have a lot of choice. If you're not going to be doing graphical work, your main considerations are the CPU, aka the processor, the RAM, and the storage. Now, processors are usually offered by two companies, Intel or AMD. Both of these manufacturers offer relatively comparable processors, but AMD processors are usually better with graphical work, and Intel processors usually offer better battery life. A quick rundown of the processor families would go something like this. Intel Celeron and AMD A-series are only for people who get a laptop to pay their bills and read the newspaper in a single window on a browser. If your use case is literally anything else, steer clear from these laptops. They are not going to work for you. Intel's Pentium and AMD's Athlon series processors are the usual workhorse for the home laptop, so these will let you do your basic browsing, some light text editing, but if you're looking to do anything more than that, you're going to run out of juice on these processors. Intel's i3 and AMD's Ryzen 3 series are the first ones that I would even consider for a daily driver regarding school or work. These offer a significant leg up from the last series, and these will allow you to do some light programming and some multitasking rather efficiently. Next up, we have the Intel's i5 and the Ryzen 5. Now, these will do everything that the last series does, but just simply faster and better. These are the most common daily drivers for budget-conscious people that still have to buy their own laptops instead of the company offering you one. After that, the Intel's i7, AMD's Ryzen 7, i9 or Ryzen 9 are all just hardcore processors. So if you have the budget to spend, go for it, but these are not required for most people. One thing to note about processors is that two of the same model are not created equal. So if you have two i5s, but the first one is a second generation i5 and the other one is a 10th generation i5, that newer one will absolutely smoke the other one. So you do want to keep this in mind, especially if you're looking at a used laptop. You will see a lot of people selling just with the tag i5, and then when you open it up, you can see that it's an i5 2000 something, and don't even think that's going to get you current i5 speeds. Next up, RAM. RAM is the thing that works with your CPU to determine how fluent your laptop using experience is. As a first note, do not buy a laptop with 4 gigs of RAM. Not in the modern day and age. If you have one that's worked so far, good for you. that's not going to be the case for much longer. With programs using more and more RAM, looking at you, Chrome, the requirement for RAM is going up significantly. So for most people, 8 GB is the minimum that you should go for. If you want to go for 16 or even 32, go for it. But for most of you, that won't be necessary. 8 GB will do you just fine. Now, in terms of storage, you need an SSD. In the modern day and age, with the selection available, there is no reason not to go for an SSD anymore. An SSD in comparison to an HDD will mean that when you boot up your computer, that will start in 5 seconds instead of 2 minutes. Also, when you start using that computer, when you open a program like Firefox, it will open instantly and not take that 10 to 15 to 20 seconds to load. If somebody tells you that Intel's Optane memory or a hybrid SSD HDD drive is just as good, don't believe them. Intel's Optane memory, for example, will start up your computer faster, but after that it's just the same as having an HDD. SSDs can be in the spec sheets in terms like SSD, M.2 SSD, or NVMe SSD. All of these are great. Any of them will do. In terms of capacity, I do recommend you go for at least 256 gigabytes or more, but if you do want to save just a few more dollars, you can go as low as 128, but do not go lower than that. Windows updates will F you up. Display-wise, most people will be completely satisfied with a 1080p Full HD display. But if you do want to go for a higher density display like 2K or 4K, those are becoming more and more available every day. Do note that these higher resolution displays do use more battery power, which means that the battery life will be significantly affected. On the subject of battery power and battery life, never believe what the manufacturers tell you. The way that the manufacturers test battery power is by running offline video with the screen at minimum brightness. This will not represent your normal usage, most likely. So if you're looking at the stated battery life expectancy, you can easily knock 2 to 4 hours off of that for normal usage for most people. Now, more on the matter of displays, you can also decide if you want a touchscreen or not. With a touchscreen, the upside is usually the ability to either just flip around the screen for easier movie viewing, or the ability to use the laptop as a tablet. And glossy screens usually come with better color representation. The downside is, though, that with the glossy screen, reflections become an issue, which can make the laptop borderline unusable in bright environments. Now, the contrary to this one is a matte screen. Now, the matte screens won't have that great colors compared to glossy screens, usually, but there will be no reflections, which will make the usage of the laptop everywhere easier. As a last point for the what would be connectivity. The selection of ports on laptops these days varies so much that you do want to keep in mind what your biggest needs for the laptop are and see if those are supplied by the laptop's ports that you're selecting. While a lot of stuff can be obtained through a USB hub or an adapter, not everything will. For example, if you do want to use an external display, then you need an HDMI port or a Thunderbolt port. That would be the USB-C looking one with the Lightning logo right next to it. If you need wired internet, then you can either just look for one that has the Ethernet port, but then again, that can be obtained using an adapter. And if you're looking for a DVD drive on a modern laptop, don't. Just get an external one. The amount of people that have had this as a necessity as they've come to purchase a laptop from me is high enough for me to actually feel the need to include this in this list. Now, moving on to the question of wear. Now, the biggest things affected by this is the material of the chassis and the size of the laptop itself. If you're just using the laptop at home and it's sitting on a desk, then by all means go for a plastic chassis. But if you're going to be traveling with the laptop at all, you do want a better material. The plastic used in the cheaper chassis is incredibly weak, and when you're traveling from school or for work, you want the best protection you can get. On the matter of size, most laptops are either 13.3 inch, 14 inch, 15.6 inch, or 17.3 inch. The first two being very portable, very light, great for school. The 15.6 inch does give you a nicer size screen, while still being manageable regarding transportation. Problems arise when you look at a 17.3 inch laptop. Most backpacks or shoulder bags are not big enough to fit a 17.3 inch laptop. Not only that, but 17.3 inch laptops are so rarely made these days that you really can't get good specs or a good selection when you're looking at one. So if you do want a bigger display, I just recommend you get a smaller one and then to connect that to an external display. Now that was a lot of info. Let's do a little recap, shall we? So the main things you want to consider when buying a laptops are the CPU, the RAM, and the storage, as well as the chassis and the size. Everything from there is just preference. So all dependent on your needs. Now, if you're strapped for money and you just can't afford the brand new ones, but you desperately need a laptop, instead of going the usual used route, I do recommend you look at recycled business laptops, because these can usually have very good specs, a good chassis, and a good port selection for a really low price. And these are surprisingly available because just in my area in Finland, I have 3 stores that sell recycled business laptops. And one of them even gives a warranty for them. And that's all you should consider when buying new laptops. If you found a few models that you like and you're not sure where to go from here, you can check out my video in the corner right now on how to research and compare. If you like the video, please do like the video and send it to somebody else you know who might be on the market for a new laptop. If you want to support me and see more videos like this, do subscribe to my channel. And with that, my name is Lo-Fi, and I will see you next time.